Hello and welcome to another Python class. So today we are going to be discussing conditionals and input-output of Python. So last week we talked about the Python basics and setup. So we discussed that and we learned about data types, we learned about variables, we learned how to set up our coding environment. And today we are going to just go a step further. So we're going to learn conditionals in Python and input output. So what are the things we are expected to cover in this lesson? So we're expected to let me get my highlighter. What is this highlighter? Okay, I got my highlighter. All right. So we are going to talk about how to get user inputs with the input function, decision making, if, elif, and else, comparison operators, then the logical operators and or not, then the decision. We're going to code some interactive games and decisions that are based on decision alone. Then output formatting. Right. So the input function, of course, we touched this briefly last week. So we can get user input by using the input function. So just by saying input, we say what is your name? What is your name? What is your name? If we run that, this is going to take an input from the user. There you have it. Nope. So that's how the input function works. But you can store the input function in a variable, right? You have the input, enter your name. Then you can store this in a variable. So you can just say name equals. So meaning that whatever input you get from this user, whatever the user enters, will be stored in this variable called name. Name. So, and then you can now use that variable and print. You can just say hello to the user, hello. Then you can just concatenate that with the name. All right. So once you get the name from the user, you store it in this variable called name. Then you print hello. Because this name is a string, you can easily concatenate, in other words, add or join to another string, such as this hello here. So let's run this. Okay. So let me enter my name. So we have already said it should, after the user enters name, you say hello and then you concatenate the name variable that was taken from the input from the user. So we print that. So let me just enter. It says hello Lawrence. Hello Lawrence. So that's just it. Alright, that's just it. So remember, when you are getting inputs, there will be the open parentheses and close parentheses, open bracket and close bracket here. And input always returns a string, right? Whatever the user enters will be stored as a string. Whatever the user enters will be stored as a string. All right, so let me just show you something quickly now. Even if, yeah, what I said is, I ask for a number, okay, enter a number. I say enter a number, and I say print num1, okay, print num that was entered plus 2, meaning that I want to add whatever the user enters as a number plus 2. If I run this, enter a number, okay, I add 2, you get an error because now you see it says type error, can only concatenate string and not int to string, meaning that Python can only concatenate string and string and can add numbers and numbers, but cannot add a string to a number. Because this you have here is a number, but what the user enters is stored as a string. So inputs are always stored as a string. You should take note of that. Inputs are always stored as string. All right. So we can make decision. We can use comparison operators like this equal to. Now in Python, the single equal to, this one here is not the equal to in mathematics. This is used for assigning variables. Like you say, name equals to something. Understand? So it's used for assignment, to assign a value to a particular variable. So that's what that is for. Now the equal to in mathematics, now to use it in Python, you write double equal to like this. Write double equal to like this. So not equal to, you write an exclamation mark, then equal to, not equal to, that is not equal to. Then the less than, the greater than works like that. Less than equal to works like this, you put the less than, then you put equal to. Then this greater than equals to, you put it like that. Like that. So let's quickly play around with that before we proceed. Let's play around with that a bit before we proceed. All right. So you can say print 2 equals 3. Now 2 is not equal to 3, right? But I said 2 equals to 3 should actually be a false statement. So if I run this, I'm going to get a false, right? But if I replace this with 2 and I run it, I'm going to get true because 2 is obviously equals to 2. Then if I change this to 3 and I use this sign not equal to, and I run it, that's going to give me true because 2 is not equal to 3. If I say 2 is not equal to 2, it's going to give me a false. So I get a false. I get a false. All right. So I can also say print 2 less than 3. This is going to be true because 2 is less than 3. So if I say 2 greater than 3, that's going to be a false because we know that 3 is greater than 2, meaning that 2 cannot be greater than 3, right? Right, right. So we can actually make decisions in Python using if and else. So this is how you have it. If something is maybe compare greater than equal to blah blah blah, then you print a particular uh, statement you want. Then else you do something else. So it's a decision making scheme, right? Use that for decision making. All right. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say uh, if 2 is greater than 3. Now, after every if statement, the next line, which contains your what you are going to do if this is true. Now, if actually is a kind of statement, right? And it takes a conditional. You can use a conditional with it. You can use what do you call it? And you can use operators like this, conditional operators like this, like the greater than, less than, and so on. Logical operators. You can use logical operators like and or. So if this is true, then the next line will happen. So what do I want to do in the next line if this is true? I want to print that. Since we said if 2 is greater than 3, then we are going to print 2 is greater than 3. So 2 is greater than 3. So if that is true. Else. Now notice that when I press the enter, anytime you have an if statement, whenever you press enter, the next statement will always fall further to the front, meaning that it is indented under the if statement. It is indented under the if statement. But for your else, you don't want your else to be under if, so you want backspace so that you come out of that indentation. So this is what is known as indentation in Python. This space you left before this, and is important, very very important. Just imagine that if I do this and I run the code, you see there's an error. It says indentation error. Expected an indented block after if. So that's not going to work. So what you do is that you indent. So if I use this star here to indent, alright, so if I run this, I don't get anything because obviously we know that 2 is not greater than 3. Now if I put else, remember else has to come out of that indentation, and else we have its own indentation. So else I'm gonna print 2 is not greater than 3. So that's what I'm just gonna do, and let's run this and see what we get. So it says 2 is not greater than 3 because 2 is obviously not greater than 3. So that is how to use if and else. That's how to use if and else. Alright, so let's just take it further. Now it is possible for us to get it is possible for us to have more than 2 options, right? We only talked about if and else, but there could be different what do we call it now? There could be different scenarios that we want to check, right? There could be different conditions, more than two conditions we want to check. There could be more than 2 conditions we want to check. All right, like this one we have here. So what I'm just going to do is that, okay, what I'm just going to do is that I'm going to just make a little program, a little fun program to introduce the remaining concepts. The elif. All right, the elif. Now elif is just the short form of else if, meaning that another if, another if, another if. So first I want to get input from user. I want to say age equals input. I want user to enter their age. Enter your age. First I want to just print something at the beginning here. Print this program checks whether you are a teenager or not. No, my teenager is wrong. All right. All right. So age equals input, enter your age. Now I'm going to evaluate the age. I'm going to use some mathematical operations on it. So I would want to convert this to an integer so that I won't get an error, right? All right. So now that I've gotten the age, so I'm going to say if age is, for a teenager, it has to be 13 years and above. No, 13 years to what do we call it now? 13 years to like 19. So if age is greater than 12, if age, is that right? It's if age greater than 12, okay, if age greater than 12, then you print you are a teenager. Well, an issue we might have here is that the person might actually be greater than 12 and 13. So you can just use this. If age is greater than 12 and less than 20, meaning that between 12 and 20, that's 13 to 19, then enter print you are a teenager. Now, a leave, let's use a leave now. Else, if the age, no, a leave expects a statement after it. We don't just use a leave like that. Else, if the age, that's a leave, the age is less than 13, we're going to print what? You are a child. You are a child. You are a child. Okay. And else, meaning that every other option, we can just print you are an adult. So let's check to see how our program runs. Oh, I got an issue here. If age greater than 20, oh yeah, I said if age is greater than 12 and less than 20, I have to put and age less than 20. That is how to put it. That is how to put it. Alright, so this program checks whether you are a teenager or not. Enter age. If I'm 12 years, it says you are a child. Oh, just refreshed. I only wanted to run this. I just lost this. That is why it is good to use some of these code editors like Visual Studio Code and the likes. So I'm just gonna have to write the program all over again. The first thing I did is print this program checks whether you are a child, teenager, or adult. Okay, then I'm gonna put the new line character. I'm gonna put the new line character. This should give me a new line character. Why is it like this? Oh. Okay. So age equals int input. Remember, my input should be converted to integer because it's going to be a string by default. So enter your age. Enter your age. Enter your age. Right? So if age is greater than 12 and age is less than 20, so we're gonna print you are a teenager. A leave age less than what now? Less than 12, maybe less than 13. Print you are a child. Else That would be what you are an issue with. You are an account. Okay, so when you run it, enter your age of is your child. Then in that ends 15, this is your child. It doesn't enter a random age, you are an adult. So you check the different age. So less than 15. Okay, you are a child. That's just it. That's it about it. Is it? So it's combining conditions with and or not. So age is greater than or equal to 18 and has license, which must be true. So when I use and the other time, you realize that both must be true for it to work. So when I used if age greater than 12 and age less than 20. Now if I entered age that is greater than 12 but not less, though it's not possible for us to have an age that is greater than 12. It is possible for us to, yes. I said if age is greater than 12 and age is less than 20. Now imagine we have 25. 25 is greater than 12 but it's not less than 20. So this is not going to run, right? It checks these two conditions and checks these two conditions and checks these two conditions. Now, or at least one must be true. So it says if it's weekend or it's holiday, either can be true. That means either one of them can be true. Not is just a reverse. Not is just a reverse. Not is a reverse of that. Alright. So, if you want to use multiple print statements, you can use print, and so on and so forth. Or you concatenate. Or you use these F strings. F strings. Now F strings is the best way to concatenate, and the F string is the best way to do that. I'm just checking which how to do that. For instance, I'm just going to comment this out so that it doesn't disturb whatever I want to do underneath here. Okay. Well, uh, name equals name equals input. Enter your name. I just say print f, and then this. You are, and I just put this name. So I just put that. And it says enter your name. Enter John. Yes, you are John. So it's a quick way to slot in. Uh, it's a quick way to print. You can just, instead of concatenating, you can just use the F strings. You use the F before the strings, and then you insert the variable there. You can use it with numbers too. You can use it with numbers too. You can use that with numbers also. So imagine I have int, or if I have num, sorry, age equals to 12. This is an integer, right? If I print, okay, so there's something I just want to quickly show you here before we proceed. Um, there's a way you can check the type of a data. Just say print type, and then you enter that data. Now the age here is 12, right? Let's see what kind of data is it. So you just say print, then you have your brackets, then type, then you have your brackets again, age. So what type is age? It's a class int, that's integer, integer. So if you change this to ABC now, if you print the type, you see that it's a class string. So that's string. And if you use 2.5 and you check it, that will be a different class. That's class floats. That's a floating point. That's how to check the type of a particular data. So if I say age 12, age equals 12, of course you know that that is an integer. And we know that we cannot concatenate integers and strings together. So we can use the x string instead. Print f. Okay, say you are, we have this age years old. We have slotted in an integer here. Let's run this. Say that it says you are 12 years old. So this comes in handy. This comes in handy. This comes in handy. This comes in handy. Right? So okay. Okay. So right. So debugging conditionals now. So if you forget to enter your colon after your if statement, for instance, if I have this, I say age equals 12. If age greater than 10, I say print maybe older than 10. First off, you notice that the automatic indentation does not happen after pressing enter. You know something is wrong from there. And then finally, you're going to get an error. It says it expected this, which is a colon, right? Imagine I put a colon here, not semicolon, now a colon. And if I backspace this and enter again, you see that it automatically indents it. So, and our code will run fine. All right, so our code will run fine. Again, if your indentation is not correct, even after you put the colon, if you don't indent the next line, the next statement after if, you're going to get an error likewise. So you see indentation error. You're supposed to put an indentation before the next statement, immediately after the if statement. So you're supposed to indent this. Use tab. Tab works well. And if you run it, you get your correct thing. Then if you use this instead of equal to, remember I said this is an assignment operator, while this is the equal to in Python. So just imagine that I said if age equals to 10, you are 10 years old. You're 10 years old. I'm going to get an error. You see invalid syntax here. So I'm supposed to use double equals. Double equals to functions as the equal to in Python. So one single equal to in Python is for assigning variables. So if I run this, okay, it does not show me anything because I said if the age is equal to 10, then print this. Because the age is not equal to 10, that's why it does not print anything. But it ran. So it said code execution successful, no error. So if this was 10, for instance, it's going to show me something. You are 10 years old. So we should be careful of that. Now, remember that input return string, right? Input always return string. So always convert to integer first. Always convert your inputs to integers first. For instance, if I say input, if I say age equals to input, enter your age. So if I say if age is equal to 10, then print you are 10 years old. If I run this, if I enter 10, I'm going to get, okay, let me do this. Now, the reason why I check this is because it is possible to, for you to use this equal to with string and integer. So if I use greater than 10, you are older than 10. So if I run this, I enter, then I get an error. So you cannot work with string and integers together. You have to convert. So input always returns a string. You have to always convert. You have to put int at the beginning so that you tell Python to convert the input to an integer and then store it inside this variable. So if I run this, I enter the age, it works well. I run it again, I enter 12, it says you are older than 12, 10. So you should be careful of all these errors that could happen. Missing column, wrong indentation, using a single equal to instead of double equals to, then not converting strings to integer before performing mathematical operations on them. So the assignment I want to have you do is this. You will take input from a user. You will ask user to enter a number, right? User will enter a number. Then you will user will enter a number, and then you will have your own secret number. Maybe your secret number will be 12. Are you following? You can no, maybe your secret number is 9 and you ask, or let me say 6, and you ask the user to enter a number between 1 to 10. So if the user enters the correct one, if the user's answer is equal to your secret number, then you can say you are correct. But if not, then you say you are wrong. You understand? You use if and else. Use if and else for that. So that brings us to the end of the class today. So don't forget to practice. So practice makes perfection. It is when you practice daily, when you code daily, that you get become an experienced coder. So make sure you code daily. Try different exercises. I'll still refer you back to the ebook. So also try different exercises. See you in the next class.